I was more clear about what I didn't want to, so I ended up becoming a commerce graduate. We have not got the access to living the good life if I don't have a 6-digit salary, a 5-bedroom house, a 4-wheeler, right? A family of 3. Contentment and fulfillment in life doesn't come from the hygiene factors. It comes from the motivational factors. Or I finished my course, or I'm about to finish, maybe 12 months, 18 months, I'm going to be done. How do we land a job which really gives us what we want? I have 2 kids. One of my eldest daughter just turned 9. Last 1 year or so, every now and then I hear her say things like, Daddy, when I grow up, I want to become. Every so often she'll say, I want to become a teacher. She'll often say, I want to become a nurse. And then she would probably would have just completed a history class for the day, and she'll come back and say, you know what, Dad, I want to become a historian. And then she'll have completed a EVS class, and then she'll say, I want to become an astronomer. The idea of what we want to become in life starts very early. If we were to ask more in detail as to why you want to become what you want to become, it would be something like, that seems to be more meaningful, that seems to be more exciting, at least that seems to be more fun. There is some kind of an adventure in that pursuit. So the desire of what we want to become starts very early. And then we grow and go in life. And at some point in time, we end up taking a course. Sometimes it is because that's what we wanted to get into. So we kind of intentionally go and take up a course. I have a niece of mine who's academically very, very strong. Her father is a medical doctor. So now she's in grade 10, but she's very clear she wants to take up a course in MBBS and she wants to become a doctor. So she's very clear, and she's got the strengths and the backing and the ability to do it. So she seems to be super clear. Now, there are many who are not like that. They seem to kind of ebb and flow in life and then kind of figure out, okay, now that seems like a good course. Okay, I didn't get medical, I didn't get engineering. What is available? Commerce is available. So I go and take up a BCom course. Now, that's also equally fine. I mean, I was one of those. I didn't want to take up math. I was more clear about what I didn't want to, so I ended up becoming a commerce graduate, right? So there are different ways in which we end up in a course. Either intentionally we go and take up something, we kind of negate everything else that we don't want, so we end up taking a course. But regardless of how we have done it, we come at a point in time where we now then need to decide what kind of a career we need to pick. At that time, we are at the cusp of getting a job, and almost everything that we want from a job is about how much does it pay, whether it kind of gives me the kind of security that I look for, and can I have a particular lifestyle. The expectations from the job ends up becoming that which we are able to get, and no fault of ours, right? If you're on a campus placement, like I was in my college, everybody comes and asks, hey, what is the package that they're giving? What kind of a policy do they have? Do they send you abroad? Are you kind of doing that? And that almost becoming like everybody is only talking about it. And that becomes like a bare minimum. I need to have a job that gives me a amount of salary. It gives me these kind of exposures. And we end up going and trying to grab that kind of a opportunity. Very rarely we think about, what do I really, really want that will make me happy? You remember when we are early in life, I said, we have big dreams, we have big goals, and we think that will somehow give us a sense of adventure, contentment, joy. But then when we are in a job and then when we are trying to climb up the ladder, what are we looking for? Not necessarily these kind of things. If you're looking for that, that's great. Many of us start thinking about, we are not accomplished in life. We have not got the access to living the good life if I don't have a 6-digit salary, a 5-bedroom house, a 4-wheeler, right? A family of 3. Now that ends up becoming a fundamental expectation. And then what we then do is we are now stuck in this high paying job for some of us. And then we think, why is it that I don't get the contentment and joy and that kind of a fulfillment in my career? Now, some of the things that I've said to you could be, Anna, that's not where we are. We are first fundamentally wanting to know, will we get a job or not, and what kind of a job we want to get. Here is my suggestion to you. When you are looking for a job, there are 2 things that will make us tick, or 2 things that motivate us. One is called the hygiene factor. The hygiene factor is anything that stops you from quitting your job. If you take up a job and the person who is kind of taken you for the job doesn't pay you your salary, will you continue in the job? No, right? So, like those kind of basic bare minimum things that is required that stops you from literally quitting your job is called a hygiene factor. It could be salary. It could be the company policies, quality of your supervisor. Do they have good supervisory practices? The status, the symbols. What do they give you as benefits? The leaves and other associated perks that come with your job. Now, these are what's called as hygiene factor. There is another thing called a motivational factor. A motivational factor is anything that gives you contentment and fulfillment in your job. Ability to take up more responsibility, ability to do meaningful things, ability to make a positive change in the organization, ability to contribute to the maximum, to your fullest, ability to come back feeling a sense of accomplishment. Now that's called a motivational factor. Vast majority of us go behind hygiene factors and think that that is the source of motivation, and we are disappointed and we feel disappointed in the process because we've been pursuing the wrong thing and expecting the wrong thing from it. We go behind the hygiene factors, status, symbols, money, better perks, and we think we will get in return contentment and job satisfaction, which means at best, hygiene factors are like the bare minimum. It's like the price of entry, which means without that, you won't even go for the job the next day. Like the example that I gave you, you won't go for a job without a salary, right? But thinking that that is the ultimate will ultimately disappoint you because contentment and fulfillment in life doesn't come from the hygiene factors. It comes from the motivational factors. Are we clear with these two now? Hygiene factors, motivation factors. Hygiene factors, bare minimum that an organization provides. Motivation factors are the one that gives you contentment, joy, fulfillment, and all of that. With this understanding, then what do we do in our career journey? I kind of consider this like a meandering. Meandering is a bit of going with the flow and figuring out what happens. And it is a bit of a serendipitous journey. A serendipitous journey is nothing that is cast in stone. This is how everyone's career has to be. It takes different forms and shapes for different people. And eventually, if we are with the right intention looking for it, we end up getting what we really, really intend and want to get out of. Okay? So, the serendipitous journey has two things. One is being intentional in our pursuits. My recommendation to you is be intentional in your pursuits for motivational factors in the workplace, not for hygiene factors. If hygiene factors is ultimately all there is to it, which means better perks, better salary will kind of make people do anything, the military will not be the most efficient organization. There are people who will go and die because of a command of a particular person, and they're one of the least paid organizations. Some of the most effective work is done by non-profit organizations or non-government organizations. And as you know, they're probably getting 1/10 of what a private companies will pay. And they still do it with a lot of cheer, with a lot of joy, and a lot of sense of gratification that they get out of it. Because somewhere down the line, they figured out that it is a wrong pursuit to go behind just the hygiene factors, but it's important to go behind motivational factors. So be intentional about your pursuit, that it has to be motivational pursuits. Now that's what you try for. Now you finish your course and then think about what would really give me contentment. What will give me a sense of joy? Which is an organization where I can give my best? So it's not about am I joining Apple or Google or Facebook and all of it. No, in all of that, if you join and you still get an opportunity to get motivational factors, I'm not against it. But on the other hand, you know a person who is starting a startup and he or she is offering you a position where you know you will be able to contribute the most. But your salary, you may not, not very sure how much you will get. Or it may not be as good as probably what some other organizations give you. But the one the organization gives you is just about doing a lot of data entry work. Do you want to take up a 6-digit salary for a data entry or a data analytics job? Or do you rather want to take a 5-digit salary or probably something less, but something that gives you a better meaning and fulfillment and contentment in life. Be intentional about your pursuits. But at the same time, allow for incidental alternatives to come up. You might be clear, this is where I'm headed, but always keep your mind open for what are some of the other things that come up that really are good incidental alternatives. I'll give you a very small story of my life and with that I'll be done. I went to do my MBA and everybody in my class and undergraduate said, hey, you know what? You got the gift of the gab. You can speak well. So go into marketing. I don't know where they got the idea. Marketers actually speak a lot. The fact is marketers shouldn't speak a lot. They should be listening a lot so that they can be better able to sell their or market their products. So I, like a fool, trusted them and said, okay, I'm good in speaking, so I can probably go and become a marketer. So I went to my MBA course and I decided that I'm going to take up uh, end up taking marketing because I was thinking my intentional pursuit was marketing because that naturally aligns to my natural strength, not because it can give me better money. I didn't have much idea about any of those. I just thought I got innate strength. I need to probably go and get that. That's all that I thought. In the first 6 months of my course, there are all these courses that we were studying. We were having a subject on, analytics, organization behavior. One of the subjects was HR. And I kind of, something pulled me to it. I kind of liked it because it was talking about how do you get the best out of people? How do you kind of ensure that the organization is structured in a way that the culture promotes the best? How do you, promote harmony in organization? Many of these seem to appeal to some of the natural values that I had. So I just decided, okay, I'm not going to take up marketing. I'm going to take up HR. It just kind of flipped like that. So which means I went in to do my MBA thinking it's going to be marketing, started specializing in HR. While I was doing HR, there are many branches in HR, recruitment, compensation, benefit, industrial relations, and many of these it can be done. One of the subjects again was talent management or training and development. Now it's been broadened out into talent management. Of all the things that I thought, I probably have the gift of the gab, and here is an opportunity to do training and development. And one of my professors said, you know what, Steve, you're really good in this. Why don't you make a career out of it? Okay, I said, I'm going to make a career out of becoming a training and development professional. Little did I know that there won't be anybody who will give you an opportunity to become a person who comes and delivers training if you don't have a big paunch and either a bald head or a gray hair. Because how do you go and tell others without life experiences? I had no clue about any of those, but I just decided to go and make a career out of it. You see, that was the time when the BPO wave came in, 2000s, right? Or every company was outsourcing to India and they needed so many people to train people. And Citigroup eventually at one point in time picked a company where I was working. It was a very small consulting company. And I got picked up by Citigroup Go to start delivering a lot of training programs for them. Now, intentionally, my pursuit was to go behind marketing. I was open, very open to incidental alternatives. And then I developed an interest in HR. Now, I work for a company which both gives the basic hygiene factors, decent salary, good perks, whatever it is, but at the same time gives me enough opportunity for me to go behind the motivational factors. If you end up in a place which gives you both the hygiene factors and the motivational factors, that's a great place for you to be more intentional about your pursuits because your hygiene factors taken care, there is an opportunity for you to do your best. But even there, do not be surprised every now and then when a incidental alternative comes out and then you switch. So that's why I say it's a serendipitous meandering of your career. The bottom line is this: do not confuse between hygiene factors and motivational factors. If all you're going to peg your career on is how much money you're going to get out of it, how much perks you're going to get out of it, if that is your ultimate definition of your career, you might get that, but you'll get so stuck in going after one promotion after the other and one kind of a EMI after the other that you'll be closing out, that ultimately you'll find out you won't get any kind of a contentment, fulfillment, satisfaction, all the good things that you said that your ideal job is about, you might not very much get it. 5 years ahead, can you be so clear about where you want to be? Chances are no. Some of you might be yes. Intentionally you're very clear, but please be open for incidental alternatives as well.